Hello, and welcome to Midweek Gaming. This is episode number 38. But if you listen to the past 2 weeks, you'll find out I've been reading out. This is episode number 37, 2 weeks in a row. So I've got to look back if I've actually got the episode number right this week. I may have messed it up again. But anyway, if you'd like a cool gamer picture, please go from the graphic god. Please go to www.xboxgamerpics.com and the graphic god will sort you out there. This week, got a packed show of great topics, and currently England haven't beat Denmark yet, so that's what's delayed the launch of the show. But we are normally late, but it's 1-1 at the minute, and they still haven't bloody scored. They haven't, but anyway, and this week we have a special guest from the Bold Man Gamer. How you doing?
He's gone.
He's gone. That's it. He's gone.
Stage fright.
Anyway, VJ, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yep. Thanks for having me back on the show.
Good to hear. Are you still enjoying Yakuza Like a Dragon?
Yeah.
You've been playing it, haven't you?
Yeah, I got like probably 2/3 through Mass Effect 3, and after playing 1 and 2 back to back, and then 3, I just couldn't resist putting on Yakuza Like a Dragon. So I've been playing that. I'm on about chapter 6 now, but I need to go back and just finish off Mass Effect. It's like lingering in the background a little, but other than that, it's all good.
Fair enough. Yep, sounds good. Welcome, Mr. Tucci, after how the Americans say a hiatus of 4 weeks, which I didn't realise it was. It's been too long. How are you doing?
I'm doing alright. I'm glad to be here. I've been on for 4 weeks due to work, all that malarkey. I'm just happy to be here again. Talk gaming.
This is a Sea of Thieves man at the minute.
Yeah.
You are. All Sea of Thieves.
I even bought the Battle Pass yesterday.
Did you? Fair enough.
Does that mean you're not going to play it for another 6 weeks now?
No,
like last time.
Yeah, I bought it, didn't I? I bought the Battle Pass day one, then didn't play it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we both did.
That's what a lot of companies rely on. A lot of people do that. They buy a Battle Pass, play it for a little bit. Oh, fuck this! I've had enough. They do, but yeah,
it's good. It's because the game starts to feel like a grind, doesn't it? When you have a Battle Pass.
It can, yeah. That's a lot of the problem it is. And let's see if he's back.
But the good thing is, now that I've unlocked up to level 26 in the Battle Pass for this season, now I've got loads of new, a few moustaches and loads of gold coming in my Ket account for the things that I've unlocked. So it's a win-win in a way. I don't mind.
It is. This is a win-win.
Is he back?
How are you doing, Bold Man Gaming?
Hello, sorry about that. For some reason, my internet just decided, literally, as you were going live, to...
No,
Fucking get it!
you just didn't want to go first.
2-1, 2-1.
2-1,
Yes!
Woohoo!
Timmy!
Timmy!
Yeah.
The most
Oh, that was working.
professional podcast I've ever been on.
It's coming home. It's coming home.
BJ, you looking like this? At the moment?
Sorry.
Are you looking like this at the moment? Oh, fucking football.
England.
Oh, that is it. Oh, this is just topped off a really good day. Is that? This is awesome. Congratulations, England.
They're looking pissed. They are. The Denmark. Oh. Was that overtime finished or was that penalties?
That was
Overtime.
that was a penalty.
Is it?
Yeah, it was a penalty in.
It's a
overtime.
penalty.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the goalie saved it and he kicked it back in.
Oh,
Anywho, back to Bold Man Gamer's introduction.
Yes. How are you, Bold Man Gamer? I bet you're even better now, aren't you?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on this evening. Good evening, guys. Good evening, chat. And yes, it is very much better evening as England just scored again. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's good to get you on. It is. Have you been playing many games recently?
I'm still making my way through the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I'm about 3/4 the way through Mass Effect 2. God, it's just weird playing stuff that I don't even remember. I did the original trilogy when it first came out, did them all, but playing again, it's just like, I don't remember that. Don't remember that happening. But this time, though, I didn't make the mistake of not romancing the blue alien lady.
I've never played the game, so...
Really? Oh, you're missing out. Oh, no.
Never played it. Mr. Sushi's playing it or completed it, and VJ played the original series, and now he's playing through them. I think Animated has played it as well.
Yeah.
I think.
The original, yes, not the new version, which I will pick up when I've got a little bit of backlog less. It's going nowhere right now, so...
Well, you never know. Within 6 months, they might drop it into the vault. You never know. Who knows? It's EA, isn't it?
Well,
They might not. They might.
I've got a little issue with Mass Effect at the moment. I completed the first and second one. Absolutely loved it. It's in there with my top games I've ever played. I never played the originals, so I've played it from the Legendary Edition, and that's it. My only issue is I got to the third one, and I feel like I'm Mass Effect out.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I haven't been back to it since.
Oh, yeah.
So
No.
I'm going to leave it a few months and then go back into the... I'm about 5 hours into the third one at the moment.
I believe this happened to VJ, didn't it,
Yep.
VJ? You were saying to me the other day.
Yeah. I'm probably about halfway through or 2/3 of the way through on the third one, but I like Mr. Tushi. After playing the first two back-to-back, I had to switch games, so I'm on Yakuza right now.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm back on Watch Dogs now. I'm playing that one again.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. So,
Yeah. Sorry.
where were we anyway? You were
I was
talking
about to make
Mass
my awesome
That was it.
introduction.
That's it.
That's what I was about to do. Didn't want you
Football's
going over me
distracting
there.
me, sorry.
It's all Bald Man Gamer's fault for not going first, and that's okay.
That's
dude.
it. That's it. Just messing it up,
Yeah.
messing the evening up,
all
destroying
good,
the
it's
flow.
all Yes, here we are again on an exciting Wednesday for you football fans. It's on to my left. I'm not a massive football fan, but I did have a bet. I lost that.
I'm
bet,
only
but there we
fans.
go.
I'm only a fan when these Euros and World Cup. Apart from that, I'm not really into it. I'm not.
Nah, not really bothered. My kids are, but... and I have been putting copious amounts of hours into Yakuza 0. I'm trying to drive through now to get it finished so I can play the next one. There's so many twists in that story. It is awesome.
Yes, there is. And obviously we won't say, but there's a certain person in the game which something was revealed and my jaw dropped. I was like, I did not see that coming.
It's happened a couple of times. I think I'm
Yeah.
96 hours into it. We're at the same point, Stubbs, I believe, in the same chapter.
Yep.
But I focused a hell of a lot on side story and unlocking stuff. So
I've got a question for you guys.
Okay.
What is it that pulls you into Yakuza games? Because I've seen them, seen the advertisements. Obviously, they're all on Game Pass, but nothing's kind of grabbed me to make me actually want to play them. They just look a bit too crazy far-fetched for me, if I'm honest. So what was it that pulls you into them?
Firstly, it was a recommendation of VJ about Yakuza because he's played. Well, I think he's played basically all of them. And obviously, when you start playing it, you think because obviously compared to Yakuza Like a Dragon, it's different. This is more of a combat beat 'em up style. But it's the stories and the actual stories are very deep and have a lot of meaning. And even the side stories, they're not like generic GTA 5 side stories or side quests. They've got links and they've got true purpose. And there's certain points in the game that I had a bit of a break from the game. I did, but there is certain points that when it hooks you, like the past few nights, I've been hooked. I've done about 2 chapters a night. I'm right near the end, and when it hooks you, it hooks you. I don't get your takes on animated. Yours might be different from mine.
Very similar, yes. I've always been a little fan of JRPGs, but more turn-based. Your Final Fantasies, your Dragon Quest. Well, Dragon Quest is new as well, of course. Mr. VJ. So he put me on that, and it come in. I just thought to myself, I've never played a Yakuza game. I've never seen it. I've never even tried it. Put it in, and immediately, I just sort of gelled with the character. I'm a sucker for a heartwarming story, as it really is. It gets you involved with. They've sort of gripped me in a way that I'm involved with the characters. Like if someone was to go a little bit, something was to go awry, you think, oh no, what's going to happen? And it sucked me in.
Ah, awesome. Yeah, there's like I say, now they're all on Game Pass and that. I say I don't have an excuse, but my backlog is so long right now. I kind of set myself up for replaying all the Assassin's Creeds because I bought them all on offer. I've still got the Tomb Raiders to play. I've never played the new trilogy that came out. Bought them. I think I paid for like $2.99 each for them off Xbox the sale, and they just sat there still waiting for me to play.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I've done
I'm
the
right
same.
there with you.
Yeah.
With the Tomb Raiders, I've done that Shadow of the Tomb Raider. That's brilliant. That is.
Yeah, I've heard that's one of the better ones. But it's like, because obviously before I had the Series X, I got I was PlayStation 4. I used to be PlayStation. I've had them all, but PlayStation where I was mainly at. And I keep thinking, comparing it to Uncharted, which is probably quite unfair, really. But I just that's the game I've got in my mind. And playing Tomb Raider, seeing that clips I've seen, I look at it and I think, is it the same sort of thing, isn't it? Still 50-50 I want to play it, but I have got them there when I do.
It's like you know on when you're like jumping around and stuff, when you can grab onto edges and climb up and stuff, where you get like the marks on the rock and that, just like on I forgot the name of the game already. Uncharted.
Yeah.
You know, when you're climbing, you can tell by looking at the map where you've got to go and stuff. It's exactly the same, pretty much.
Right, yeah. Is it more? It looks a bit more survival. Is that right? Because it looks a bit more like a survival, make your own weapons type game, not just have a gun and murder everyone.
I can't remember now.
From what I've played of the Tomb Raider sort of rehashes, they are, yes, you've got to find weapons rather than create them and stuff. You haven't got unlimited ammo, but you do find plentiful, if that makes sense. A lot of it is better to try and stealth it than just go all guns blazing, because the enemies will descend rather quickly if you make too much noise.
Ah, right, fair enough. Yeah, so definitely interesting. Yeah, definitely got to give it a go.
It's a twisted story in it as well. In the Shadow of the Tomb
like that story. I'm all about story. I'm mediocre on multiplayer games, but story is the thing that grabs me. Absolutely, a good story.
Well, you'd like, if that's the thing, you'd like Yakuza if you can do the first several in subtitles.
Yeah,
because they are in Japanese.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's either because I didn't think I'd like a game where you are reading subtitles, but I got into it. I really like it now. But that's the thing. If you can't adjust to it or you don't like it, you're not going to like Yakuza because it's literally the same all the way through. But apparently, Like a Dragon that actually had. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. VJ, have they got? Do they speak English in Yakuza? Like a Dragon.
Yeah, they do. There is English voiceover in the game.
See, yes, that's more more Western. That is. So yeah, it depends if you can adjust to reading off the screen or not. I'm really into doing that now, but it depends if you can or not.
My problem is I concentrate more on reading what's on screen than actually watching what's going on.
There is. I will warn you though. The game's really enjoyable in the stories, but there is a lot of cutscenes. But it's all relevant to the story, the game.
Right, yeah.
I do enjoy that. I do. But anyway, let's. How long? 1, 2. I think I've been through everyone's intros. I think, have I? Yes.
Yes.
I have. Yes. So I'm not going to read the whole article, but this blew up the internet. Last week we didn't have a show last week, but I'll do actually a few shout outs. I just forgot to shout the chat out. Welcome Shizna Elite. Welcome Masuku. Who else? It's Timmy. Welcome.
Timmy.
We have. I did have a chat with that young gentleman. You're one of the few people on podcasts that don't go Timmy.
It's Timmy.
And I said I'd mention it, so we have to get used to that. Calling that gentleman that. I made him a promise once upon a time.
What's that?
That everyone I talk to will call him Timmy, like Timmy.
Oh, okay. He likes it.
I don't think he's really had a choice. I just made him a promise once, and I've stuck to it.
Welcome Matt Barnes. Welcome Goat Force Gaming. You got a list. Back from the Dead was first in the chat. Boldman Gamer. It's kind of a thing I do in here, Boldman Gamer. If you message in the chat, I still shout you out. Welcome
That's
VJ to the chat. What else we got? Animated Evil and the Indie Gamer. What's going on? Wish this game would end, everyone, so we can be through to the finals on Sunday. 15 minutes left.
Has the England game finished or what?
No, it's 15
It won't be
minutes
long,
left.
yeah.
Just under.
Yeah.
We just need to stick at 2-1. But they don't want to think they've won. That's when it goes wrong.
It's coming on, boys. It's coming on.
Yep. So, Konami, one of the largest game publishers, and Bloober Team have signed a strategic cooperation agreement. It will include jointly developing and selected contents and exchanging know-how. Basically, they're working on the game. They are. And I won't go fully into it, but everyone on the internet seems to think that Bloober's going to make Silent Hill. Do you lot reckon they are? What do you reckon's going on? I can't see them working on an old IP like that, a new team, but I could be wrong. What's your takes on this whole situation, Boldman Gamer?
I don't think they're directly working on the game, if I'm honest, because if you actually, when you read the article, it says a strategic cooperation agreement will actually include jointly developing selected contents and exchanging know-how. It doesn't actually directly say they are going to be working on a game. I think it's more that Konami are actually getting back into the video games themselves, actually making a game. But like Bloober Team, I think 99% of their games are horror orientated.
Yes, that's true.
I think there's the odd one or two that isn't. Axeman, I think it was called, from back in the day. But I think it's more like a, what would you call it? Like just giving them tips, info, maybe helping here and there and stuff, or even making like DLCs, that type of thing. But reading actually the article, it doesn't actually say they're directly working or making a game. It just says an agreement to develop content and exchanging know-how. I honestly don't think they're making it. I think they're helping, but I don't think they're directly working on the game. I just think it's just maybe giving them tips, using some of the things Bloober Team have used in like the Blair Witch, because your jump scares and stuff, that was brilliant for that. Don't play it in. I think, was it VR? Was that one VR? That one on PlayStation?
I don't. It could have been.
I might be confusing it with Paranormal Activity, that one, which is also terrifying. But yeah, I had to stop playing Blair Witch because it was just making me too freaking. It's like, I can't play that anymore. But yeah, no, I don't think it's directly working on it. I think it's more of just sharing a bit of knowledge and maybe advising them here and there and a DLC, but not actually making the game. I don't think that's what's happening.
I disagree somewhat, just a smidgen, because Konami haven't made a lot in. They're not done a lot with their old IPs for quite a while. The older stuff, anyway. I think they've brought them on to say, right, make it with us, but we're getting the credit. I think that's. I think they've told Bloober Team, come and make Silent Hill, but Konami's getting the credit for making it and stuff. I think that would make sense. So the name, so no one forgets the name.
But would they do that though? Would Bloober Team just be fine with that? Say, yeah, no worries, you take all the credit and we'll do it. You'd think they would word it more to say we are actually working on a game.
it might not all be settled yet. They might not have agreed to what it is they're doing. They might have just said, "Come on board, we'll work something out." We don't know. We've seen these rumours and things about wanting to not sell off, but hire out their IPs. Possibly, there's always potential of that.
Yeah, because I suppose they do say that,
yeah. If the game comes out and it's in partnership with Bloober Team, it's neither of their responsibility, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying it's like, it's Konami, that's all that's done it, but if the game does come out and it's both of them, it's made in partnership with Bloober Team or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's a potential.
Yeah, like I say, we know they've definitely, because they've come out and said they've signed an agreement where they're doing something. It's just the way they've worded it. It just makes me think, why not just come out and say you're doing something? We are actually working on a game, not just. It seems a bit vague to me, but
sometimes how the business runs, though, isn't it?
It's true. True. Yes. Very, very true. But it'd be very, very interesting to see what they do. Bloober Team, they've not had the best track record.
Could I just correct you?
Yeah.
Because I've seen Indie Gamer mention it. They're actually called Bloober Team, not Blooper.
Blooper. Oh, I do apologise. You are correct. Yes. Blooper Team. I do apologise. Thank you, Indie Gamer, for pointing it out. Yeah, it's just the way way I'm reading it. But yeah, you are correct. I do apologise.
Anyone else got any thoughts on this, VJ?
I think it's been a long time since we've discussed Konami, hasn't it? I think
it really has.
Ever since their sort of very public and acrimonious divorce with Kojima-san, right? That seems to be the last sort of major incident over there, and I think that's of any note, I guess. And obviously, our friend Jeff Key loves to bring it up as often as he possibly can. I think Konami as a company, as a game. I mean, they've got several divisions, obviously, that generate revenue for them, but especially when it comes to video gaming, sadly, that they've regressed or sort of moved away from investing in video games or video game development in sort of any sort of significant or meaningful manner as far as I can see, right? I don't know exactly what goes on in the company, but I mean, I'm not appropriating blame when I mention Kojima or Konami, right? It's probably just a relationship that reached its sell-by date, as sort of many encounters or alliances or friendships in life inevitably do. But if you look at Konami, they've got, I think last time I checked, they had over 10,000 employees, which sort of surprised me as well. And I think less than 15% of their sort of personnel contribute to the video gaming sector. And most of the people sort of doing anything to do with gaming software, it's mostly for their sort of mobile games, their Pachistro slots machines, and obviously the big one, which is an annual release, which I'm sure most people know on the panel in the chat, which is Pro Evolution Soccer. So I think Konami don't. I think when I look at Konami and I look at where Capcom came back from the brink of almost bankruptcy, I think Konami, even though they're far more healthier than Capcom are, don't want to sort of entirely give up on investing in the console gaming or PC industry, since it's sort of somewhat still lucrative, especially with content going digital, and far more revenues, profits going to publishers, and it's part of their heritage, right? And sort of their, I don't know what's the best way to put it, but part of their sort of historical DNA, right, that the company was founded upon. Every time I think of Konami, I keep thinking back to Parodius and Salamander, but you got with Konami, where they are right now, you can tell that they're significantly sort of de-risking the sort of potential negative commercial impact, right, that lengthy, risky and burdensome game development and publish can have on a business. And I can't remember there was a Metal Gear Solid online of some sort that really did do very well for them. And I think that was another nail in the coffin for their game development division. I mean, I can't remember what it was called, but
Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah, Yeah, and I'm sure someone's going to pop up in the chat and say, "No, I absolutely love that game, the best ever." But anyway,
never played it.
Probably be the indie gamer. But but when you look at game development, it isn't pretty. It's messy, especially when developers in Japan don't look at Konami right now as a viable or credible option or opportunity, as sort of like, like a youngster coming out of university and saying, "That's going to be my first port of call. I want to go work at Konami." And neither do sort of veterans in other companies, leave and think, I'll move across to Konami. They don't have that. Given what was made public, I think people are perturbed to even approach them, and that tells you everything about Konami, where they are today, and their appetite, right, in terms of where they sit, in terms of in terms of a company, right, and their posture. But they do still need a content pipeline to justify their sort of publishing and sales divisions, and especially their distribution in Japan. I think they're one of a few that have actual distribution in Japan to all retailers, and other publishers use them as well. And then they've got sales divisions across the world, and I just can't see how one major game, Pro Evo, can justify that. So that's where Konami sit. And then you've got someone like Bloober, and I played the medium. I played it as soon as it came out, and I think Removable Sani also played it, and Bloober, I think at this point in time, if you look at them, really with sort of no emotion, they're a competent game developer that can relatively stick to a budget and schedule, and can cover even any overrun, right, if they want to, or if they feel they need to, or need be, right. And I think that they're respectable and a decent developer that sort of sits on the periphery of your vision. Obviously, there's hundreds of developers, and there's far more that are in your sort of focal point at any one time, but they sit on the periphery, right? Especially with Microsoft, pushing the medium in January, it's kind of, more people than not that are sort of gaming fanatics, know about Bloober or Bloober. I'm not sure indie game is going to...
Bloober!
There you
Bloober!
Go. Thank you. But as I said many times also, Poland is a very cost-effective country for businesses that are looking for sort of keenly priced operating costs, where you can hire sort of educated and talented people, not just from Poland, but from the surrounding countries like Hungary. And the cost of those, that personnel is far, far less than I would say any major Western country, significantly less. And government R&D grants, programs, and tax rebate systems are all worth a significant sort of shake of the stick, right? Especially to new companies that are growing in Poland, right? And I think The Witcher 3, I remember a long time, I can't remember exactly what it said, but there was an article about Witcher 3, how much money they'd actually had from the government in actually creating and delivering that. It might have been The Witcher 2, you'd have to check. But this is why I think, investment in games like Outriders, right, by Square Enix, a new IP, was given the green light, since developing it in Poland was seen as a huge a de-risking, right, of the project. I honestly, in my hand on heart, never on a month on Sunday, if that's how the saying goes, would that specific game have been greenlit in North America or the UK. That's just not how Square Enix sort of, I think, that are strategically motivated in that way. And overall, for me, it's not a special or earth-shattering deal or announcement, unless you're sort of salivating at the mouth for another Silent Hill, is it? I think for these two specific companies, given where they are, for me, they're like two passing sort of ships. Two ships passing in the night that found a necessity or a sort of meaningful solace in one another, and it's more of a marriage of convenience, I would say, that might bear fruit. And then you've got the question of sort of, well, what kind or sort of fruit are they gonna bear? And it's anyone's guess. But looking at Konami on one hand, they have lost their mojo and creative potency, but can't quite let go of their sort of unrequited love for the gaming industry. On the other hand, you have Bloober, who are competing and striving for talent with CD Projekt Red and many others, sort of a stone throw away, right, given how tightly packed Warsaw is with game development studios. And they're trying to sort of attract talent in a very competitive landscape, and have as yet, in my opinion, flattered to deceive with their gaming content that they've made so far, right? That's not saying anything about their future, because I don't know. But at the same time, people say, well, they've got Konami on board, haven't they? But it's hard to see Konami, given my take on them right now. And obviously my take's not sort of heavily steeped in facts because, I'm only going by what's being said, right? It's hard to see Konami, for me, reclaiming or even coming within touching distance of their former greatness. And Bloober, and then you got Bloober, where I think they're far off making a critically acclaimed game with the resources and the sort of creative and technical personnel they have on hand. What I will say that in favor of Bloober, I think I got it right that time. What I will say is that sort of trying to negotiate a deal with someone like Konami, a Japanese company, is not easy and not pretty. It takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. So this has been going on for a while. And I would also say that making a deal is one thing. And, when you sign it, the honeymoon, the champagne opens up and so on and so forth. But as soon as everybody starts working together, the honeymoon period is over. And you only have to look across to what I saw something in Codemasters, right? All the executive team have gone 4 months after the acquisition. That tells you everything you need to know about acquisitions and mergers. Not many are successful, but I know that's not to this degree. This business deal is not to that degree. But as I say, the honeymoon period is over. Actually working is going to be an even harder endeavor, which I won't go into now as to whys and whats and whereabouts. But I hope Bloober make the best of the opportunity that's sort of being afforded them, especially given the situation Konami find themselves in. And I know you guys mentioned, like, why hasn't certain things been announced, but you've just got to look at it like this, is that they can announce everything that they're doing, every possible avenue that they're going to concentrate on and announce everything now, or this announcement is just the first step or first beat in a whole PR campaign. And that's how I would look at it, because staying in the public, relevant in the public eye for over a continued and sustained period of time is a smart thing to do. And as I say, I think Bloober, working with a Japanese company, are going to find out what it's like to work within the parameters and boundaries of Konami, their IP, the approval processes, and whatever contractually Bloober are allowed to do or operate within, at the behest of Konami. So anyway, that's my take on it. I'm going to shut the hell up now.
Yeah, no, it's just exciting to find out what's going to happen, because it could be anything. It really could be. Yeah.
I have literally no knowledge whatsoever on this.
Could be working on Castlevania. Might not actually be a horror game. Might not be Silent Hill. Could be because they've got other things in there, haven't they? Could be Castlevania.
It's got elements, I suppose. Yeah, they could. I don't think they would use a established horror type studio like Bloober to revitalize Castlevania. I think if they were going to pick any IP for that particular studio to revitalize, remake, remodel, whatever, it would have to be Silent Hill.
And if I had a free £10 bet, I'd be putting my money on what Animated Evil just said.
Yeah. Well, fair enough, yeah.
Next topic, Stubbs. Unless you've got something else to say, of course.
Did Mr. Tushy have his word? Did Mr. Tushy
yeah, Mr. Tushy basically said he has no clue.
I have no knowledge on this subject whatsoever. I couldn't even... It's really bad with Konami. I ain't got a clue whatever games they've made. Is that really bad?
No, did you play the Medium at all? Or did you try it? Or
I played a couple of hours into it, but I never got back to it. It's just one of those... You have those moments where you just play loads of games and you never stick to one. That was before Mass Effect, that was. I
totally get it. I know that. I know for a fact that Removable Sanity really loved the Medium. So, but I said, Mr. Tushy would never order a medium, would only go for an extra large.
What are you trying to say?
Maybe that's the collector's edition that's coming up. Just call it the extra large.
Yeah. As long as it comes with an apple pie, I'm happy.
What's this about smacked bottoms and all that in the chat? What's going on?
I don't know. I just said you'd like it.
Oh, God. Back to you, Mr. Stubbs.
You're not denying it, though, are you? I can tell by that cup of tea you're blushing.
I just can't believe it. England are in Euro finals. This is history. This is
against the Italians.
We really
an
wanted,
interesting
to be
one.
honest, we really wanted Spain. Really.
We did want Spain, but if you watch that Spain Italy game, they weren't at the best. So come on, England.
Stubbs,
Yeah,
if you mention
Sunday.
football one more time, I'm going to stand up.
Yeah.
Go on then. I don't.
He's got his newsreader's pants on. Don't forget, he's got his newsreader's pants on.
I've also got the remove from stream button activated, so I just click it.
Hang on.
But anyway, some news came out about PlayStation have been acquiring some small studios. They've acquired Housemarque that made the Returnal, and they've also, now this will shut a lot of people up, and some people can't admit it. So they bought an interesting company called Nexus Software. So this little statement's off their website. Nexus Software is an industry-leading Dutch company specialising in video game design, development and porting. Working alongside global partners since 1999, our work is fueled by love for gaming, commitment to innovation. Based in Utrecht-based team provides itself on delivering the best possible experience for every game, regardless of platform. In July 2021, Nexus joined PlayStation Studios to focus on delivering the highest quality gameplay experiences for PlayStation fans. Now, in reality, this company is a PC porting company. So I'd imagine this will help port games over to PC in the future.
I wonder what's happening next.
Well, it's all part. See, the problem is, it's all PlayStation's actually laid it all out for everybody. If anyone watched the earnings call, there's articles on the earnings call. It does say that they are going for the porting games to PC. It does say they're going to get subscriptions like equivalent to Game Pass. It doesn't say that like make PS Now better. It does mention mobile. It mentions all this stuff, but these things take time. It doesn't happen overnight. And it's just good them acquiring Housemarque and Nexus Software. It's all good. I think you'll find some more. They'll probably make some more little purchases here and there. But I think overall it's healthy for the games industry to have more games. I know I can hear the fanboys now, but it's not organic.
The thing is, sorry, it's a good thing that the PlayStation growing. They need to grow their studios and their content. Is for this generation, they've got a lot of competition regarding what Xbox has done recently, and they need to keep up, don't they? Really, not keep up, but
it is. But at the minute, the problem is they do need to keep up, but I don't think it's so much them trying to keep up with Xbox. I think it's basically the juggernauts, the ones with the big pockets are buying up studios left, right, and centre. You got Tencent. You've got who's the other big one? Oh, a massive one, VJ. What they call
Saber Interactive? Yeah, was it Saber?
Yeah, but the one that owns
that's one of them.
That owns Recon. Do you know about that one?
The Embracer Group, I think.
The Embracer Group. They're the buggers you've got to worry about. They're massive, and I think it's all to do with this. They're worried that if they don't buy them, they're going to get acquired. They are, because Housemarque are a very deserving studio. I haven't played Returnal, but it looked very good. It does. But all in all, the point was it's just positive for the gaming industry. It is, to be honest. I know it's only 2 studios, but you don't have to keep buying $8.5 billion studios, do you? Any studio is content, isn't it?
Yep.
End of the day, you can only release so many games at once, can't you? You can.
Yep.
Is that the question?
Do you want to jump in, VJ? It's very vague as always.
Yeah, I think you've got football on the brain. I think from the outside looking in, Sony are just simply remaining consistent with their sort of evergreen strategy, right, of working with developers and potentially purchasing them. Not every studio they work with do they acquire, right, especially if they work with them over an elongated period of time. But
That's true.
whenever Sony announce an acquisition, I always think back if Sony should have pulled the trigger and consummated their long-term business relationship with the French developer Quantic Dream. If you look at both Quantic Dream and Bungie, and I'm just getting to the point. I'm just getting to my point about not every studio wants to be acquired. They've both given up a minority share, right, holdings. I think it was to some Chinese company called NetEase in returns for hands-off investment. And I guess independence is sometimes far more important than being part of a platform holder, as there are rules and regulations and compliances that have to be adhered to. There's no total freedom, and you are under a degree of control from any parent company. And if you've worked in any sort of large company or corporation, or long distance newspaper around, there's a manual and a thick manual and a set of company rules and moral codes, internal ones, business ones, and commercial codes, right, that you've got to adhere to. Your freedom is reduced. You are indoctrinated to a degree, and it can impact on what you can and cannot make as well in terms of content. In that sense, I can respect sort of Quantic Dream and Bungie having the wherewithal, the passion, and the courage, right? And in terms of how they want to see, their sort of respective businesses to play out, right, and during the course of whatever the game industry becomes in the long term, and they want to play the game by their rules and be taken rather than sort of be taken over and acquired. I mean, being acquired, and I've seen quite a few mergers and acquisitions, can feel great that someone's come along and said you're really pretty, we like the way you look and want to take you out to dinner and all that, but it can feel a little bit irksome and uncomfortable, right? Especially when it's the first few dates, right? And it can ultimately, right, turn out to be counterproductive, and not one size or shape fits all. And just ask Mr. Tucci. In terms of Housemarque, it's definitely a unique and sort of creative company that sort of, for me, expands the diversity of content offered by Sony or Sony's portfolio. So it does enhance it in that respect. But I've got very little know-how, or I know very little about, what was it, Nexus? Did you mention? But from what I did sort of glean from my quick sort of look at the links that you sent, I think Mr. Hulse has obviously worked with them over the period of time, and Sony, I think, after what they've done, obviously done the due diligence on the company and respect the sort of trust and respect what Hulse has got to say. And I think that if they are focusing on PC ports primarily and working as a technical resource for certain studios that exist within Europe, or teams that exist within Europe that are making content for Sony, I think it's a good thing. I'm not sure what else Nexus does, but I'm sure that they kind of, the makeup sounds very similar to when Guerrilla first started out, in having sort of creative, being very technical, doing some third-party stuff and doing some work for other studios, and then having that creative itch and ambition, right, for ideas and games, right? And when they went and pitched their, what was it? I think it was Killzone, right? Killzone's the franchise, right? The first sort of game that they made for Sony, and it did okay. It didn't do great, it did okay, right? And then they built from there. So I think that might be some of the ambition that Nexus has. But all in all, what Sony have got right now, I wouldn't say that the deal's earth-shattering or anything, but it's you've got some positive PR surrounding these deals. But again, for me, I think, as Mr. Tucci said, I think he was spot on, right, in terms of that they've got to keep up. For me, the longer term sort of future for Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox, and anyone else that's looking to that is sort of non-platform holder, that looking to enter into sort of subscription-based services over the next 5 or 10 years, it's all about the promise of new and improved content offerings, and they need that always, right, to drive continued hardware sales and subscription services. Currently, for me, both of these hardware sales and subscriptions are important as each other. We've seen it, we know it. We can see the revenues that it brings in, and we can see the software attachment rate that it brings in for hardware sales, and we can see the cash flow it brings in via subscription service. And Sony already in the subscription service game, right? With I think they've got over 50 million combined PS Plus and now subscribers, and Xbox are pushing towards the 25 million number prior to the Halo's launch. So these are big numbers. I think both of them want to, get to 50 million and charging $15 to $20 a month. That's where we're headed, right? And I think Game Pass will eventually be $18, no doubt about it. It will reach. People say, it won't, but they'll get to 180. What is it, 180 at the moment? They'll get to 200. I reckon we'll see a 10% increase, and then detractors will say, oh look, they put the price up, but Xbox fans will say, well, hang on a minute, it's still cheaper than 3 full price titles every year from Sony, and look how many games we've got. So that's going to be the narrative going forward. It's all very, very predictable. However, for me, however content sort of is going to be made, created, or whatever you want to call it, and delivered and consumed in the future, you must have relative, relevant, and compelling content at any point in time. And I think that's what Xbox are doing. I think Sony know they need to do that, regardless of the fact that they say they've got 25 games in development and 12 are brand new IP. Half of those could still be in, I don't know, in conceptual stage, just like Elder Scrolls 6 is, right? There's nowhere in sight of that game, from what we've heard. And I think that, as I say, for hardware sales and subscription numbers, you need content to maintain steady growth or come out of nowhere. And Disney is a really good example of coming out of nowhere and reaching almost 125 million subscribers in a couple of years. And it took Netflix 12 years to achieve that. So overall, though, rather than going out and just buying studios left, right, and center, and with the scattergun approach, it does make you stronger. It doesn't necessarily make you better or good. And I think they're two very distinct things. And I think that's where Microsoft should focus on right now. But I do prefer the sort of shrewd and organic approach Sony and Nintendo take versus the Microsoft's approach. And I think with Microsoft, they said that they had a 20-year relationship with ZeniMax, and obviously their Bethesda. So that to a degree makes sense. And it's not like they went out and bought a company that they never heard of, right? Even though they are taking, a lot of games that are part of, form the fabric of pop culture in terms of being multi-format, and then making them format up hardware or platform exclusive is a little weird. And not quite what I would expect Microsoft to do. I thought they'd have bigger balls than that. And I have no issues with the new IPs like Starfield being exclusive, but it'd be interesting to see what else they do going forward. But I guess we know the answer to that with Outer Worlds, right, being exclusive. Ooh. So, as I say, I don't like the scattergun approach. Microsoft is stronger, as I say, but it remains to see if they can make a good go of it, right? And it's really, really important. And I think that's partly why Nintendo and Sony are just sitting on the sidelines to wait and see how Microsoft turn around and make subscription-based service viable, profitable, extremely profitable, more profitable than their businesses are right now before they switch over. And I think that could be, I don't know, could be a couple of years, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. There's so much to it than just having content. I think with like internets, and all that latency issues and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think Microsoft are hedging their bets. They've got the money and the power to go ahead and do that, make that investment. And Sony and Nintendo are just waiting there and sitting there for the point of convergence to appear. So all good for now.
But surely, say we like Microsoft, it's a public traded company and everything. Like Phil Spencer with Xbox, they must have gone to Nadella and the board to show them what they're going to do to make it more profitable, to show where it's going to go. Because you can't.
They would have shown a 10-year plan or something.
Yeah. When with investments, it's got to show
let me just stop you. Let me just stop you there, right? Because if you look at the investment that they've made into video gaming, it's quite negligible, right? When you consider it's a company that spends over 25 or 30 billion just in R&D every year. Secondly, you've got to look at their checkered past, right? In the terms of the investments that they've made. I mean, they bought Nokia for whatever it is, several billion. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I do know within a couple of years they laid off 10,000 people and wrote off $7.5 billion, and it didn't make a dent. And it didn't make a dent in their business. What you got to look at is that when Xbox turned around, and I don't know exactly what happened, but when Xbox One came out and they stopped supporting it, even when they said they would, what I believe happened is that they've gone to Satya and said, look, we want to continue making Xbox systems and we want to invest in games and so on and so forth. And Satya said, listen, look, you know what makes us the most money right now? If you just look over this division over here, we've got over 150 million subscribers, or whatever the number is. It's somewhere in the region of 120 or 150. That brings us in billions of dollars of revenue on every single quarter. It's predictable cash flow. You take that synergistic approach to whatever you're doing in the gaming division and come back to me with a plan. And hence Game Pass was born. That's how it's come about. And they know that it's going to require significant content, because they went out and bought Bethesda because they were not strong enough. And now the next step is to make sure that they're good enough. And the growth that they're seeing is good. But let's be honest, we don't know the churn rate, right, of subscribers. And we don't know how many of those subscribers are like me that accumulate so many points that you don't actually pay for Game Pass. How many are still on the 1 month introductory process? And I think sorry, go on.
I'm one of them people.
Yep.
Still not paying for it.
Yep. So I think it's a long-term thing, and I think it's there. But I don't even think that Xbox contributes any more than single-digit numbers, right, to what Microsoft is as a corporation. So, as I say, they're extremely strong and in a very powerful position. And I think that what Phil has done, and really smartly and rightfully so, is gone out and said, look, this is where we're weak. This is where we need to strengthen. He's done that with the hardware. He's done that with address the studio situation. And they've gone out and acquired Bethesda, and not just for the IP. I think they've gone there and got the management, and they've gone there to get the technology that they've got in various game engines and so on and so forth. And I think more than anything else, they've gone to get the management know-how as well, and as well as there's one other thing as well, management know-how, and obviously the IP and so on and so forth. So
yeah.
It's an interesting move up, but I wouldn't really, by any shape, way, or form, say that this is sort of been a difficult. It's been difficult to set it all up. But I can tell you, Satya, as soon as he thinks or sees that things aren't quite going their way, you know, he's extremely ruthless, and he's probably got Phil's balls in a vice, right, and turn it as and when he sees fit to turn it, and not as and when, you know, it doesn't start to perform. But I think, you know, someone like Microsoft, they can pour money into this for the next five years and wait to see what the outcome is. But for Satya, all he's looking at is subscribers, revenue. That's why I think Game Pass will go up in price, and predictable revenue streams, because with that, you know, he'll be a darling right in front of his shareholders. And I think that's what he wants to make sure, right, that Phil goes away and delivers. So he's got the freedom to do what he wants with Xbox, but he's got to make sure he's in alignment with the synergies that Satya's put in place across the company, right, in all of his divisions, right? Because not only do they have those subscribers, but obviously they're renting out their servers and so on and so forth. I don't know all their business, to be quite honest with you, but yeah, all heading in the right direction, no doubt.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
they're in a good position at the moment, aren't they? Doing very well. I think a lot of people have a lot of faith in Xbox these days, don't they, compared to the last generation?
It's a bargain, Mr. Tucci. It's a bargain, and it's a giveaway. Unless you really want the best possible experience, go and get the hardware. But really, it really is a bargain right now. And long may it last. And my sort of point is, I don't know what the long-term visibility is, how sustainable it actually is. We just don't know. And it's really hard because no one's actually gone down this route before. But if there was any company that was like a country or a state-run business, it's Microsoft. You know, it's really a sort of, sometimes look, it's like a negligible investment for them, right? Where they are right now. It's just a case of what they do next in terms of acquisitions, how that affects the ecosystem of the game industry as a whole, up and down the chain, whether you're a company or a consumer, and what that means for content long-term. Because they really could cripple Sony and Nintendo if they really wanted to. But I just don't know what the long-term aftershocks of that might be on us as gamers. I like it like it is right now, you know, very sort of, everybody's got each other, all three platform holders got each other's on, you know, standing on tiptoe and concentrating really hard. I just don't want that balance to sort of sort of be, I don't know, just totally put out of whack or sync, right? Because I want it to be in a situation where we benefit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the last thing you want is one of the competition to disappear.
That's
the last thing anybody wants.
I'll give you a fantastic example, right? Like where I live, I used to pay $45 for my internet, and it was great. There was 3 internet service providers.
Ours are good for this.
What happened is that one internet service provider bought out the other 2, and now I'm paying $75. And I can't even, and when the customer service was fantastic, now I can't even get a human being on the other side of the phone when there's an issue. And it happens because corporations are only driven by one thing, right? The bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone's going to be flocking to Xbox after the new music video.
Oh yeah,
I've not watched that yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome.
It's funny, yes.
Oh, good on PR.
Just do a few shout outs. A few more people who came in. Welcome, Dreadpool. I know you came in a little bit ago. I've just remembered to do a shout out. Judzilla, how you doing? There's Muppet as well. Welcome. Who else?
Muppet.
Muppet is here.
He's a madman.
Dragon Wolf, welcome. Pixel Slapper. I can't remember if I shouted you out, but welcome. I know you've been here from the start. But yes, have you got any thoughts on this animated? This how PlayStation's growing? What do you think? With these 2 studios?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the original question because we sort of veered off there a little bit.
We did. But it's all...
Personally, I think the 2 studios they've bought are a complete perfect fit for where Sony wants to be. I know it was mentioned, ZeniMax was mentioned, and they spent $8 billion on this. The problem is Sony hasn't got that money to wave around. So they've got to find the best quality places they can find on a budget. I mean, they could afford something big, but I don't think they'd want to take it off their top line and risk. And it's risk and reward, and I'm sure they'd prefer the reward rather than the risk.
You're right, though.
That's true. I mean, I will say one thing: they could buy it. Everyone says they got them. They could afford it.
They could, but
they've got about $30 billion in cash or more. They have got money, but just it's not wise to spend it.
It's not. It's just they look. Money is cheap right now, right? They've got cash. People want them to invest. It's just in relation to someone at Microsoft. It's just a much bigger undertaking and a much bigger risk profile, as in terms of if we do this. What is the pros and cons? What are the benefits of doing? What's the SWOT analysis and all this whole thing? And I think it just doesn't make sense when you look at the smart bit. They just work a lot smarter. I'd rather see them buy a company. I mean, you look back at Insomniac at $230 million.
Bargain.
Just and I think that's where they go fishing.
Yeah, exactly my point. They want the best reward for the minimum they can get it. With Housemarque made sense. They made a great game under the guise of Sony. Maybe they can have more creative freedom to give them another big banger. Just like you just said, like Insomniac. Just give them the time, give them a bit of money, give them a bit of creative freedom, and see what they can bring. I'm sure. I mean, Returnal was quite popular. A lot of people were disgusted how hard it was, but it looked like a good game. With Nexus, I mean, their Twitter account says it all. It's basically their header is making games better since 1999. They're proud of what they do. They're a port company, and I'm sure, given time and stuff, they might bring their own IP and they might bring their own stuff. But essentially, they've been brought on to port games. Whether it be PC, we don't know. Or whether they're going to start bringing using them as a backwards compatible alike for the PS5, we don't know.
Interesting. Yeah.
And I would add to that even it's a bit of a long shot, but perhaps to what Animated Evil is saying, maybe perhaps even remakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'd love to see a Parappa the Rapper remake.
Parappa the Rapper. Were they in the PS3 days?
PS1.
PS1? Shit. Jesus.
Does it make you feel old now? It does.
Parappa the Rapper starring Mr. Tucci. No, that should be animated eagle.
It could be remakes. You're right. The older style stuff, like it says, they're like making games better, and that's what they've perfected since 1999. We don't know right now what they're going to be done, but for my money, it's PC ports.
What if
That's
they?
where the biggest customer is going to be.
What if they're going to finally master the defeat the transferring from because of the cell processor and stuff? Like bringing PS3 games natively on the console, maybe PS1, PS2. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they're going full backwards compatible. It'd be difficult, but if they've got a team that can do it, they can do it, couldn't they?
Very, very good idea that would be. If they could do it, then yeah.
It could potentially be a backwards compatible solution, yes, a port rather than a actual backwards compatible game. They don't have to change any graphics, but make it work on the newer hardware. I'm certain a team with
You'd be selective of what you picked, obviously. Yeah, you would be.
Yeah.
Oh, Muppets put Toe Jam and Earl. I used to love that on the Mega Drive.
First one was the best.
I can't remember which one I had.
The first one was like the open world one, if I remember rightly.
I'm sure you could get that on the 360 in arcade. I'm sure you could.
Yes, you can.
Didn't they actually bring a new one out last year? Toe Jam and Earl? Yeah, I thought they did. I remember seeing some. Yeah, they did. I remember seeing something. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but they did like a crowdfunding thing for it. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, Indy's put in the chat that there's already a new Toe Jam and Earl.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Just need another Ren and Stimpy. That was a good one.
Oh my god.
I think that's where I got my humour from as a kid, I think.
What about Pinky and the Brain? Pinky and the Brain.
Oh.
Don't you remember that one?
There was no Ren
I
and
do
Stimpy.
remember it.
No.
There was no Happy Joy, was it?
No.
So yeah, they're my thoughts, as limited as they were. Quite short, I know, but I didn't want to go over what had already been said. Yeah, a perfect fit for what Sony are going to do. And
did we actually get your takes on it?
Congratulations to them.
Yep, exactly. Did we get your takes on it, Baldman Gamer?
No. So I think everyone else has said to it. No, I was Nexus Software I have heard of before, because I think every game they've actually ported back from the late 90s is Crystal Dynamics, Square Enix type thing. I think all their games they've done for them, because I remember back from the PlayStation days, they ported to Dreamcast, the Legacy of Kain series. That was from the PlayStation to the Dreamcast. But they ported all them between PlayStation, PC, Xbox, GameCube. I think they even ported to GameCube at one point. But all their games pretty much, I think, were Crystal Dynamics. There was a handful that was IO Interactive, and the latest one, wasn't it Avengers? They did for the PC
Marvel,
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are actually, like I say, I think PlayStation have acquired them for that main purpose, is instead of using all the resources from other studios to port the games, bring in a studio that specialises in that, take the burden off other studios so they can do it and they can concentrate on new IP or other IP or updates and what have you. So Nix's is probably a perfect fit for them to help them do that. I think it's always going to be older games. I don't think you're going to get, say Naughty Dog's next game is released on PlayStation 5 and Nexus Software does the versions come out on the PC for the same day. You're never going to get day and day, because I think, was it Jim Ryan, didn't he say in an interview somewhere along the lines that day and date doesn't work for them?
Yeah, but I think over time they will release stuff day and date. It seems to be that they are adjusting what they're doing. I don't think we're there yet. I think next couple of years they will change their stance on that. They will, because if you look at the earnings call, though, it's the stuff that's in there. It seems to be they want to go towards the route Xbox is taking, and because they can see it's working. So I'm not saying now, but in the future it could be day and date and on PC.
It needs to be in the future, because at the moment they haven't got the proper games to sustain a service, if if you know what I mean.
No.
Oh, no, that it's, these things take time. They do.
It's what I
It's
mean
like
is
Game Pass. Everyone thinks it just arrived. It actually took Xbox about 4 or more years to build partnerships, etc., and get it off the ground to start with. And that's before and that was when Game Pass first started. It was 4 or so years before anyone. It was obviously under NDA, and it was years in the making before anyone heard of it. And it's not even at top level yet. Game Pass ain't. So it takes time. It does.
I remember it was free in the alpha ring when it first got. I thought it was amazing before it got announced to the public and stuff. But there weren't that many games in there to start it off.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
No, I just can't see them PlayStation anytime soon at all, or the near future, day and date, because it's because obviously PlayStation has that hardcore audience. They want the console. PC's more for people that mainly just do PC, Steam, maybe try an older game, then get the new one eventually, or buy a PlayStation 5. They don't. I just can't see it anytime soon. To be honest, I think it's just going to be older games ported to try and entice PC players to buy the PlayStation 5, to get onto the console, to invest in PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now and their services that they have, and but that's just my opinion on it. And
what happens? What happens then if when Horizon Zero Dawn comes out on PC and it immediately gets 5 million PC users and it's number 1 on Steam and it breaks records or whatever?
Yeah,
it was when it first came in PC.
Yeah, that's it. It is. That's the whole point. Because at the moment, as we all know, trying to get hold of a next generation console anyway, it's like rocking horse crap. You just it's impossible at the moment. Very hard, limited stock. But when you've got it more where you can walk into a store and buy one, you release the first game on PC, everybody loves it, everyone's play it. Oh, there's a second one out. Where is it? Oh, you can only play it on PlayStation 5. In the future, it may come to PC, may not. I don't know, but it's more to try and pull more people off the PC onto console, because that is the only place you can play the sequel to the game you've just loved.
I will say one thing: the old hardcore PC gamers.
I thought you was going to say it was coming home.
No, they you ain't gonna pull them off a PC just to buy PS5. Very minute amount of people that would actually do that. They will. It's not.
Yeah.
I've got something on this. A PC gamer will wait years until a game comes to Steam or something.
And then they will wait until the buggers on
sale.
They
will wait.
As well.
Yeah, they will wait.
Yeah, that's fair. To be honest, I'm not a PC gamer. I've always been a console gamer. I don't like having to check drives and graphics cards to see if I can play a game. I just like to go in the store, buy the game, play it. Happy as Larry. This whole checking this, checking that, making sure my Excel spreadsheets are up to date and all that. No, it's not for me. All console.
It's not that technical.
I'll tell you what. Though,
Oh, it is for me.
If you look at the Steam sales chart at the minute, it looks like near on a bloody Xbox chart. The amount of Xbox games that are in there. Sea of Thieves, Forza Horizon, all
Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, recently it's been.
I would love to, I would love it if they put all the games on PC as well, because obviously it opens it up to more people, because it is, as you would say, money left on the table. You've got a game, you love the game. The more people that play it, the more people that are buying it, hopefully the more chance you are to get a sequel. And I know you get a lot of PlayStation players, more of the hardcore fans that kick off saying, "Oh no, it should be console, should never go to PC. What are you doing, PlayStation? Blah blah blah." But if it was up to me, we could all play everything on whatever we want and all enjoy it. But that's not how business works, does it? At the end of the day, the corporations, they want to make money. When money's there, you've got to make it. But I just think PlayStation, they're still set a bit in the old ways. I know they're starting to come more to modern times, but when you're on the top of the mountain, why change things?
It's true. It is true. And I think it will take an entire generation for you to see if there's actually been a shift. I think it will take a long time to see the results of that. It will.
I've kind of noticed as well. It's like PlayStation. You look at past E3s, past events, and stuff like that. The more of the actual people, Shuei and your Jack Trentons and people like that. It's just like there's no real face of PlayStation now, apart from Mark Cerny and Jim Ryan. All them faces are kind of gone. I still remember, the 2013 E3 event when Xbox came on and said, you can't share games, blah blah blah. And PlayStation quickly did that skit backstage when this is how we share games. That's just it's brilliant. You know who they are. You can relate to them. But the PlayStation now, it's all voices or voiceovers for like videos, and Jim Ryan doing the odd interview, Mark Cerny talking to cardboard cutouts moving across the screen or whatever it was. It just seems to seem to get away from all that personal touch.
They got that idea from Home Alone, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I remember that. Pulling the strings, Michael Jordan going around.
They really should let Herman Holst be the voice and face of PlayStation for everything. Don't let Jim Ryan talk, and just let Herman Holst say whatever they have to say, because he seems like a really decent guy, and I like him. He gets the point across. No. I think Jay's mentioned it before about Herman Holst. He should be the guy. He should be.
Bring back Shuhei. All is forgiven.
No, I think Shuhei and is it Jack Trenton, or what was the other guy's name that got replaced?
Sean Layden.
Yeah, Sean Layden.
Yeah, I think they both let Sony down, and that's why they were ousted. You've got to look at it like this: is that Sean Layden had PlayStation, had the best hardware, they had the best library of games, and they still couldn't put Xbox in the ground. The Xbox One, given it all of its misgivings and all of the criticism laid at Xbox, still the PS4 still only sold a few million more units than the Xbox in America, and that was partly down to Sean Layden being head of studios and being head of PlayStation at one point, and he's held both titles. Yeah. And the issue is that when he went to become the CEO of Sony in the US, or whatever the position was, head of play or whatever it is, and Shuhei was a head of studios. You also have to remember is that while the studios were under their control, they had a very poor year with Days Gone, and with the green light and the launch of what was the other title by Kojima that was Death Stranding. And I'm not going to go into Jim Ryan's past because his record speaks for itself. And I think that is why these two guys were drafted. Well, Jim was drafted in, and then he appointed Herman. Why these two guys were drafted in to say, well, look, this is what we've managed to do to Xbox in Asia, or Southeast Asia or Asia Pacific. This is what we've been able to do to Microsoft in the EMEA territories.
Domination.
Europe, Middle East,
that's what happened.
I'm sorry?
Domination in Europe, Jim Ryan caused.
Yeah. So, but my point being is that he's been brought in now to tackle a very different and a vastly improved Xbox. And I don't think personality isn't the important thing. It's being able to know what you're doing, having a plan, and being able to execute it, but being agile enough to understand and predict what is going to happen and how you stave off the competition from sort of eating up or grasping or grabbing at your golden goose, which is obviously Sony's PlayStation 4 user base, while it's being carefully transitioned, and over to PS5 and Xbox with the Series S and with everything else that they're doing, are looking and to pounce on any opportunity or any chink in I'm not sure if that's the right word in Sony's armor. And this is a far more aggressive Xbox this time around. And you've got a revitalized Nintendo as well. So even though the industry as a whole is grown, and I think Microsoft are going to grow it even more, all three companies obviously going to benefit from that, right? A bigger I mean, if Microsoft actually end up getting 200 million subscribers or 100 million subscribers or whatever they said on CNN and Fox, and I don't know if you guys probably didn't see it, but they were both on CNN and Fox. They're saying, we're targeting 2 billion gamers. That's the future and everything. Those 2 billion gamers that are sort of innocuously, not aware of console gaming as a whole, when that market expands, they will hear of Nintendo. They will hear of Sony. So Microsoft, to me, are taking a huge risk. But they're also, what they're doing is expanding the audience for gaming, and that only benefits both of those other 2 platform holders and obviously the top tier publishers. So it's great in one sense, not great in another. But I think Sean and Shuhei had their chance, had their opportunity with the most. And I'm not taking anything away from the success they achieved, but it should have been far, far more, given that Microsoft didn't even turn up.
Well, I suppose. I suppose there's all that. I think I just miss more of the
just ignore me. I just
personal. But no. I just prefer. I think I just like that more personal touch where you're actually, you're seeing the face of all these different games, positions, and
got some spare butt plugs if you want them.
There's loads in this house.
God, I think I might make an appearance.
I ain't had one on stream for a while, have I?
No, you haven't.
In the background.
No.
Don't give me ideas.
But I have to, say that I like the personal touch as well. I just can't bring myself to call you by your name, so I'm just going to call you BMG.
Everyone does. BMG is perfectly fine.
And I get that, and I understand that, and I understand what Microsoft are trying to do, reconnect, their company, their brand with gamers. And to a degree, you could argue that Sony have already done that, but not continuing to do it in the visible way that Microsoft are doing it right now. Because can they be better at what they do, and will it have a bearing going longer term? You could arguably say yes. So I have to take your point on board and respect it, because you do have a point. But I just wanted to sort of say that, look, the personnel change had to happen. It had to. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But because people often say, business. I think somebody, it might have been you, said that this is a results-based business, and that's what businesses are about at the end of the day, right? Making money. And and I think when the Japanese looked at it and said, look at what we've given you, look at what we've managed to achieve in all these other territories, why are we still lagging in America when we had no competition for the best part of 3 or 4 years, right? So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think it's just because it's, when you obviously gaming for so many years and you see everything happens and things change. I think it might just be like the old man side of me. It's don't like change too much, but it is. You are right. It is for the better. There's a reason they've been ousted and moved about and whatever they've done. Yeah. And like you say, Jim Ryan's is not a gamer. He's a businessman, and he knows how to run a multi-billion-pound company, and he has shown that. Look what they've done so far. Look what they're going to be doing in the future. What they are doing is amazing. And I haven't got a PlayStation 5 yet myself, and I want one. Because I want to play Spider-Man. But what they're doing, things they're doing. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I'm totally with you. I speak to Mr. Tushi sometimes about the fact that I want to get a PlayStation, but this, for me, obviously it's subjective, right? In terms of, if you like all of the games that they've released so far, that's fantastic. But Sony just haven't released enough good games that appeal to me that I want to play right now. That even if I could go and get a PS5 for $1,000, that I would go out and buy it. There's been times, I used to buy import PC engines, Neo Geos, you name it, right? Turbo Graphics, Neo Geo, all that sort of stuff, Dreamcasts. Sega Saturns. I used to buy all of that sort of stuff, on import, and on import that would cost incredible amounts of money. But at the time, they were all compelling systems that had compelling games. Maybe not the Dreamcast straight out of the gate, but it did eventually. So for PS5, there's just a few more games that I want to see come out, and then I I would have to pull the trigger. But whether it's sometime during this year or early next year, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah,
I'm going to wait another year on.
Yeah, that's the issue, isn't
refresh.
It? Oh, a bit smaller console.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's the thing, because like I say, I was PlayStation 4 generation. That's where I was the whole time. I only really played, like your what do you call it? Your Uncharted games, God of War, things like that. Twisted Metal, which I love when I was younger. Twisted Metal, one of my favourite franchises. It's a shame it's gone. But other than that, played the odd third parties. And
no, it's not gone. Just send a fan mail over to Nexus. They'll make it happen.
Yeah, I'll drop them an email later, see if we can move the ball on that one. But yeah, it wasn't until, like, say, I didn't actually hear of Game Pass till beginning of last year. November previous year. Never heard of Game Pass. It was my nephew that mentioned it to me and sent me over an Xbox One to try out. And like, obviously, I've not played Xbox in a long time, and then all this Game Pass with all these games, all these first-party games, all included. It was just like, bye PlayStation, because I've played everything I want to on there. I've got all these first-party and third-party games I want to play on there, and and I chose this generation to go Xbox, and I don't regret it.
You and VJ in the same boat.
Yep. I mean, it's such a bargain. I mean,
yeah.
Mr. Tucci, I know I say this, you invested in the hardware, but the amount of points that I've racked up, the amount of games that, and you were right, I have played more than. I was shocked to see how many games I've completed this year. It's a complete and utter giveaway.
How many points you got now?
I've got over 170,000 now.
Jeez.
Whoa!
And,
Get yourself an Elite V2 controller with that.
I was looking at it thinking, you know what, I could actually buy a few games, but I'm actually going to do what I mentioned to you, was to get a gift card, a Walmart gift cards over here, and for me missus. So it's, you know what, it's interesting, right? Sorry to go off topic a little bit. It's just about Game Pass, right? So Game Pass, again, thanks to Mr. Tucci, I go to aniba.com and I picked up $20 for 3 months, and it would have cost me, I don't know, 150,000 points or something like that. No, sorry, 140,000 points to get a year's worth of Game Pass. If I go and get like Walmart gift cards and then go and buy and separately buy Game Pass for $20 for a quarter, it actually works out a lot cheaper. I actually save about $40. It's crazy. The interesting thing would be is that once Game Pass gets really, really popular, are Microsoft going to clamp down on this on this $1 a month, for intro accounts, and all these websites that are selling 3-month codes for $20? And these are the kind of things that I'm looking out for in what Microsoft do. And do they make it harder to earn points going forward as well? When they reach that critical mass?
Will.
Yeah, I don't know if they will, but it's just
once they reach critical mass, they will. I'm sorry to say it. The Microsoft points, they will pull the rug from under people's feet. They will.
I hope not. Yeah.
But the problem is, people use the Bing engine for all this stuff. They need that Bing engine to survive as well against Google.
Yeah.
They ain't even competition.
Oh, I know that, but like, for example, my PC, everything is all Bing, everything. I use it for all the points and everything.
It's really a bit of the points. Microsoft points is really a bit of a rig. Really, it's to make it look like people are using Bing when they're not really. It's like on my phone. I won't say what automator, but you have to install the PDK now on Android, but it used to be available in the store, and it automates all your searches. You just click a button and wait for it to, and it does it automatically. I'm not.
Masuko's making a reference to the Sea of Thieves in the chat. I see. BJ, you've picked up files like a true pirate, and I have. Yep, and I did that because Mr. Tucci sent me a video on how to earn points, and I just followed all his instructions since November.
But then again, they might not pull it because it's not like Xbox actually advertises it. They don't advertise it at all.
They won't pull
Mr.
it.
Tucci does.
I just think they will make it slightly harder because over time they have made the points slightly harder. They're easy to do though, but over time they make them slightly harder. It's like when they used to have all the console points. You do the quest. It used to be like the points you used to earn used to be a lot higher, and now they're a lot lower than they were before. But if you live in America where VJ lives, it's a lot easier to earn more points because they give you more points anyway compared to us in the UK.
Really?
You guys get more points.
They had to slow the points down for people like Dragon Wolf that doesn't spend them.
Yes.
He's over
Dragon Ball
400,000.
420,000, I think, is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Did they close the EA Play loop where you could buy the EA Play for 20 quid off CD keys, put it into your Xbox Ultimate if you had it, and it automatically transferred it to 4 months
Yes,
of
you still do that now.
Yeah, I
is
don't
it still going?
It's not full on, is it? It's less.
I'm not sure.
The ratio is less, I believe.
Right. Because you're kind of like saving like 13 quid, or and getting an extra month, weren't you? It was quite a good do if you could do it. I don't know if it's still happening. Right?
Oh, speaking of Game Pass, I won 6 months Game Pass the other day.
You did, you jammy bugger.
I did.
Congratulations.
Oh, well done.
Yeah, it was on Good Morning Xbox with Noof Nukem. The span the world on. Luckily, my name came up.
Welcome, That More Rocks. Welcome, the community manager of Season Gaming, or the Twitter social media. Congratulations on getting that job, Mama Rocks. Deserve it.
Yeah. Go on, what's the next topic then? We spoke about Game Pass enough now.
We have. I'll tell you what we might go on to. We'll go on to that community question, because that'll be quite interesting, that will. We had a community... I'll just get to it. I do know it, I just want to make sure I don't get it wrong. So, we've got a community question from Tom Wild off Twitter. If you could become the CEO of any developer or publisher, which one would it be? And also, what would be your first course of action? Now, anyone can jump in. Whoever wants to say what they do.
Mine's ready. I don't even need to actually think about it. It's right. I would be CEO of Warner Media, Warner Brothers.
Nice.
The first thing
Sell yourself to Xbox.
Oh no! No. First thing I would do is go straight to Rocksteady, scrap Suicide Squad completely, get rid of it, and make a open world Superman game. And I would take on Greg Miller and Gary Whitta from Kinda Funny to helm the story.
I thought you said Gary Lineker then.
No, God, no. No, Mr. Gary Whitta and Greg Miller to write the script for the story for the game. Superman game, we're about due one. Cross it over with Batman, do whatever you want, but scrap that awful looking Suicide Squad game.
I just got one thing to say about Superman.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I wasted, I think, £40 on Superman 64.
Oh, yeah, no.
That game was shit.
Fair enough.
The controls were horrible, weren't they?
They were awful. But if there is ever anyone from Xbox listens to this, please make Superman Returns backwards compatible. Please.
That was nice, Bowman Gamer. That was. We've got one in chat from the Lightly Lad. He says Konami, and he would sell off Metal Gear and Silent Hill off to the highest bidder. He would.
Xbox then.
Yeah, Xbox would probably, if it was up for sale, they'd probably bid the big, because it's nothing to them, is it? A few billion, nothing.
Didn't Warner Media actually they've sold part of the game inside it? Was it that mobile?
It's a strange one, that is.
Yeah. They sold like the mobile studio off, didn't they?
Yeah, because it's like everyone says up for sale, but what people don't, every time these rumours come up, it is made. A lot of people say that even if they sold some of their studios, Warner Brothers would never actually sell off the IPs like Batman, and they just lease them like Disney do. They'd lease them. They'd never give up the IPs. And people are like, no. If Xbox bought them, they'd buy the IPs. I'm
I
like,
guess-
no, you wouldn't.
I guess the question is that why doesn't? Well, I guess I know it depends on AT&T, but given their financial predicament, why didn't just Xbox just go the whole hog and just buy out Warner entirely?
I reckon you talk. Wow, that's
Yeah.
big money.
Or AT&T.
But with the IP for like your Batman, Superman, and things like that, does Warner Media actually own the full IP? Because I know a lot of things they only own part of some rights.
Yes, DC. They own DC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. So technically, they do own the rights.
No, but is it because one of the creators, like Superman, Jerry Siegel, I'm sure part of like his family's estate or something owned something to do with Superman that they would have to get permission for to do. It might have changed because I'm talking from like years and years ago. It could be different now, but I'm sure there are like little things like that they might not have the full IP to even actually sell or give away. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not.
But anyway, I want my Superman game, and I think I've teased for a long time about it, and then let my hopes down by that Suicide Squad game. So, yeah,
Fair enough. I'll let other people.
Sorry, just a quick one. Spider-Man would be good, long as it isn't like you're Spider-Man, you're hitting a human about 20 times to kill him. If you know what I mean. Just flick them.
You're right. I'll let other people say theirs because it's going to be quite obvious what I'm going to pick anyway.
I'm going to go with straight out the bat, and just because somebody has to make the decision and move on to the next game. Rockstar, please, and let's get GTA 6, and let's start making more Red Dead and other things, and maybe some new IPs. They've got the money; they don't need to milk us anymore. Let's get a new
Go
one.
in that office.
I have a question.
Stop GTA 5, release 6. We're done.
I have a question. Can Game Pass owners get 20% off shark cards? Please.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah. If you've bought the game 4 times, you can have a free one. How about that?
Soon to be 5.
Oh, dear.
until they release it for the fridge, like Skyrim.
That would be mine, just because enough's enough. Somebody has to go in there and say, look, next game, now. Or at least do something with the next one.
Hasn't one of the co-founders of Rockstar, hasn't he now started a new studio?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I believe I read something that he started a new studio. 'Cause he was taking time out, wasn't he, for gaming, and then started his own studio all of a sudden. It's a bit. Wonder if he was more pushed out of Rockstar than decided to go on his own accord.
But aren't they brothers? Am I
Yeah,
the two owners?
yeah.
So I can't imagine he's being pushed out. I think they've seen opportunities elsewhere where they can. Do you know what? Well, can you make even more money together?
Yeah, because I'm sure
so-
he said something about spending more time with family and things like that, and then it popped up recently starting a new studio, which it might be good. Maybe he's just decided he's had enough of just writing
family?
stories for games.
I thought he was going to say he's had enough of his family in a couple of months and he's gone back to making games.
That could be quite possible. It could be quite possible. I was quite lucky through lockdown. I did not have to stay at home.
I did for 10 weeks. It was amazing.
I only had to stay at home due to the fact. Well, no, I did. No, I did actually. But my main, because I still used to go out and that. But my main thing when I was actually locked down was when I broke my knee in 2 places. Then I really was locked down. I was.
Oh no! Oh dear! All healed.
Yeah. Still plays up now and then. I think I'm obviously gonna get arthritis when I'm older, and obviously in the winter when it gets colder, I'm gonna feel it a bit. But it's one of them things, isn't it?
Yeah. Invest in one of them three-wheel
when I go
trolleys.
to airports now, if we ever can, I'm not sure if I have to have a letter or just tell them I've got metal in my leg. I don't know what you do. I don't know. Because it's going to go off. I'll go, no point taking my belt off, mate. It make no difference. It won't.
No, true.
The lot you had to put. Did you do that chasing a rat? No, he was getting attacked by bees.
Don't chase rats, mate. We don't do stuff like that.
It's the wasps that are in my screen usually.
I did around 6 months working at home. It was all right, but we've got a guy who went off last March. Not last March, gone March before. He's still off right now.
Really?
Yeah,
Furlough's like finished.
I know, but it's because and shout out to him. He shared an office with my staff and me, but when it all started, I moved my office around, so there's now less space. There's more space per person. There's less. You can get less desks in, so he's got nowhere to go because I've basically kicked him out. So he's not. I don't think he's got an office at the moment.
Well, you snooze, you lose.
But he's still at home, so he's still he's still on full pay working from home, and it works for him. It works for the company. He might stay there.
I loved furlough. I did. I had 10 weeks to sit at home on the Xbox, and they extended my missus' work. She went from 8 hours a day to 12 hours a day, and they extended her 5 days, 6 days a week. So I'd literally at home all day gaming. I pick up from work, she'd come home, have a shower, go to bed, and I'd go gaming all night again. So that was when we went for our phase of Sea of Thieves, wasn't it? I think. Was it?
Maybe.
Hey, what you don't know because it's like when I was off, obviously with my knee, I actually got scared of being. I got scared of being left by myself at home because I got it in my head because I couldn't walk. You see, I was literally dependent on anyone else. So if my wife went out, you laugh, but I had like my family come round to babysit me. Do you know what I mean? Because what it was is I wasn't allowed. They said you can't be left by yourself because if that happens, there's no one there to help me or say. I used to worry there'd be a fire and I couldn't get out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but eventually,
I can imagine that was a worry. If you'd fallen down and you couldn't get up, you were screwed.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah, I can walk and all good.
Just imagine if you sat in the toilet when you were alone and there was no toilet paper.
Oh,
you'd lose the feeling of your legs.
You fucking laugh, right? But that was one of the goals to sit down on the toilet. That was scary because you know your knees.
The angle of your knee.
Well, you're not used to sitting down that low. You think you're going to fall. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. I used to bum shuffle up and down the stairs to start with.
What to wipe your bum?
No.
Right, we've all dropped the toilet roll in public, and it's rolled under the door. You've got that thing to think about. Do you run out half naked or don't you?
Not being funny, but there's quite a few quests like this in Yakuza that you have in the Yakuza series.
Yes.
You have to solve.
Yes.
Oh, is there really?
It's crazy stuff like that. Yeah.
It's some very crazy stuff.
If I can say one thing about Yakuza, it has a charm all of its own, and you have to actually. You can watch all the trailers you want, but actually experiencing any video game, I would say, is the true test of whether it's for you or not.
So if I was to jump into, say, the new one, Like a Dragon, will I actually get what's going on, say, story-wise, because I haven't played it?
It's a completely new standalone product, and it's not even based in Kamurocho. It's based in Yokohama. So it's a very, very different game to the traditional Yakuza series. It's a new protagonist. It's a completely different combat system. But it's the writing of the game, the visuals, the performances, the performance capture, and if you're a fan of Asian culture, it will surprise me. It surprised me. It wasn't what I was expecting, and all of the trailers and all of the media blurb that I read didn't really prepare me for the sort of game it actually was. So as I say, if you're interested, it's in Game Pass. You've got nothing to lose. And even I had to push. Me and Removable Sanity had to push Stubbs to actually switch on his Xbox, let alone play the game, and
It's true.
and he loves it. And I really wasn't certain if it was this sort of game, but you just got to be open to a completely different type of product and a different culture. And if you can do that, it may very well surprise you.
Yeah, there is some things in there. Their culture's different. Let's just say that. There's some things in there that would really give you head scratchers, thinking, "What the?" And it's part of the culture.
But it's funny. It's humorous and it's light-hearted humor, and it's actually quite true if you think about it. They don't hold back from. It's not like high concept or completely out there, or it's everyday life, and it's the reality of how things really are.
And going forward, I haven't played Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I've seen interviews where the format of Yakuza Like a Dragon is how the series is going forward. It's changing. That's correct, isn't it, VJ? That's what they've said. It's going to be like that now, not like the originals.
It's different. It's difficult to say because remember. They also have the Judgment series, right? Which is Lost Judgment is out, and that's the only game I'll be playing in September, regardless of what's out. And Tales of Arise, right, from Bandai Namco, that looks incredible. And so even though again you've got 3 very different protagonists, 3 very different types of storylines, and all set in the Yokohama and Kamurocho, etc., and so on and so forth. And even though the Yakuza series has ended now, and I understand that Yakuza Like a Dragon has a different combat, a turn-based combat system.
This worries me. It does.
But you shouldn't worry. You should try to embrace it because it's free of charge to try, and you may very well be surprised because it surprised me how in depth the turn-based strategy.
I'll like it.
You will. And Judgment and Lost Judgment, now the sequel that's coming out, embraces the combat system from the traditional Yakuza series from 0 to 6, and builds upon that. So it's not like they've done away with it. They've just stopped making the Kiryu saga, and the 2 offshoots from the main Yakuza series is Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is an entity on its own, and you've got Judgment as well, which is more of an action-based game.
See, that's what I've heard going forward. It's going to be Judgment. It's going to be more combat like the original Yakuza, and the Yakuza is going to be turn-based. Like, but it's not like is it like JRPG turn-based, not turn-based like Gears?
It is turn-based, but there's so I don't know how many turn-based. So if you go back to like games like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest from the 90s, those are turn-based. Strategy games, right? But this game, it's just the thing is, it's like me saying, all first-person shooters are just first-person shooters, and there's not, right? You've got games like Unavowed coming out, right? You've got Skyrim, right? You've got Dishonored, right? You've got BioShock, right? So and really, you're sort of kind of trying to pigeonhole Yakuza Like a Dragon and saying, it's a turn-based RPG. Yes, that's the pigeonhole, but you got to kind of expand once you start playing, it'll expand your horizons because their specific take in terms of the I'm losing my words, I'm knackered, in terms of how their take on turn-based RPG is completely different from any other game. I just played Octopath Traveler. That's a turn-based RPG, but the mechanics within that and the systems that they've put in place, the layers of systems that they've placed in there, just make it incredibly and fantastically addictive. And that's what you'll find with Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because let's be honest, right? These Yakuza games, and especially Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I think Removable Sanity, who's played it much more than I have, will tell you that the game takes on a life of itself, and the personality that the game exudes is phenomenal. So my recommendation is that if you haven't got anything to do and you want to try something different, and if you're getting bored with playing the same old games over and over again, give it a try, because as I say, it may surprise you. It may not be for you, but it's just the same for me. I wasn't going to try Hollow Knight, right? And until Indie pushed me, and I ended up spending 140 odd hours in it. But I do like to play a whole sort of a variety of genres. I'm not someone who just sticks to one type of game. But yeah, it's well worth it, and especially it's in Game Pass. And if you've got the time, give it a go.
So that's the thing with me. I mean, it says a lot if you were to ask me, bar Yakuza 0, which I'm currently playing, when was the last time I spent 58 hours in a game? I won't be able to tell you.
Gears 1?
And no, I can't. I don't remember
Joking.
playing the game for that long. But like, animated, 94 hours he's got in Yakuza 0. There's something special about it. It's, if you let it grip you, it's good.
I'm not willing to finish it yet either. I've got some side things to do that I want to complete.
Oh, you going to completion it? I think get everything.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to. That's going to be a long way. I can't be far off. I'm popping quite a lot of. Obviously, most achievements are rare anyway, but I'm popping quite a few of the side quests and stuff. I've nearly unlocked one of the characters' fighting modes, one of them, and I'm moving on to the second very shortly.
Nice, because it literally,
where
we are.
One fighting style is almost complete on one character.
Nice.
Yeah, it's cost me about 4 billion yen up to now, I think.
It's about £15.
It's a lot of hours, I'll tell you. Well, look at the difference. I've played it for 40 more hours than Stubbs has, and we're at the same point in the game. So
yeah, it's true. The problem I've got now is I've let the main storyline grip me too much. I want to know what's happening, so I'm playing the main campaign. I'm not doing the side bits now. That's why, because it's gripped me too much. I want to know what's happening. I want to know.
It is. But that's the beauty of the Yakuza games. I don't want to spoil it, but in Yakuza Like a Dragon, there's a side gig, and you get loads of different side gigs, right, in the Yakuza games, and this one's about running a corporation. So you start off as a small store, and you've got to help a girl out that's been taken for a ride by the Yakuza and been swindled out of all of her money and her company. Anyway, you find some investment, and now you've got to run a company. And I've ended up spending hours and hours and hours just playing that rather than the game itself, and that's just one of the side gigs you can do in the game.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of my time.
It's just phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh, and another benefit, Bowman Gamer, you can spend hours upon hours in the Sega arcades.
Did you say Bowman Gamer, or did you say Poor Man Gamer?
No, Bowman Gamer. I actually spent quite a long time in the teddy bear machines. I was playing them.
Really, they're so easy in Yakuza 0.
Yes,
there's a side question where you have to play that.
Yes,
you got it first time. It's like, yeah, there you go.
But in the end, it does have a conclusion. That one does. Well, don't spoil it for anyone, but yeah, it does. But yes, Yakuza all round is good.
Yeah, well,
go on, Toshi. Try Yakuza.
I've played a bit of the Yakuza 0. I got to the karaoke bit, and that was about it.
Oh, I was terrible at that bit.
Push past the karaoke bit. It's not one of the best. It's not one of the most shining moments of the game, but my suggestion is for you two, that some of the stuff you'll see in there just suits your personality to the ground.
Yeah.
It really does, mate.
It's completely got your kind of humour in it, throughout the whole games. And the protagonist in Yakuza Like a Dragon, again, I watched the trailers. I wasn't too enamored with him, shall we say. And then when I played the game, and I've been playing it now for maybe 15 hours, 16 hours. Half of them had been playing a mini game. I've spent playing a mini game. It's phenomenal. The cast and range of characters and the writing, it's just incredibly beautiful. It's fantastic. And the performances are just unbelievable.
I'd love to try it, but my backlog is just huge, and you're just trying to catch up with stuff.
And put Yakuza in front.
It's not your backlog isn't going anywhere. Let's be honest. It's not.
No, it's just getting bigger.
Exactly.
I counted it last year, and it was at 628, wasn't it? My backlog.
I'm there with you, brother. I'm there.
Well, I'm gonna download it after this podcast.
Is that the number of games you want to go back, Mr. Tushi, and actually play
and finish? Yeah.
Oh, wow. See you in the next life.
Hello, next.
It's like I bought Valhalla on launch day. I ain't played that yet.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, still not even played that myself. And I'm quite the Assassin's Creed fan. Used to be.
I love Assassin's Creed. Absolutely love it.
Do you love the online that's coming?
No, that's very much upset me. I wish they'd go back to the original formula from like Ezio era and Assassin's Creed 2. Brilliant. They're all right. Unity was a bit, but then this RPG open world it was just like no. I enjoyed Valhalla. Valhalla was the best out of the 3 RPG ones, but I just wanted the back to the story. Well, what if you could call it a story? Back to the linear game. Just go one place, assassinate, next place. Not this have to grind, go and kill this guy, grind to go and take them out, to go and kill that guy. It's just like no, it was too tiring. Very much.
I do prefer the older ones.
Yeah, definitely.
So when I played at Origins, I'm about 30 hours in, I think, somewhere around there, and I got to a point where my next mission to do is like level 30 or whatever it is, and I'm only level 20 or something. So the Onis are a lot stronger than I am, but that means I've got to do the fucking 30 side quests to get my level up to do the next mission, if you know what I mean. And it just feels like a grind. I just couldn't be arsed with it.
See, that's where they're trying to get you to buy. There is, if you look on the store on their page,
You can boost your score up.
You buy the boost. So every you're killing, you only have to do part grind, and your level's going to go stupidly high. That's what they want. They want you to buy it. They want you to spend the £5-10 to buy the boost, so you don't have to grind it. It just seems a bit way that they're trying to swindle you out a bit of money, and it's like, I don't like it. Didn't like
I already paid extra for the episode, for the one where you get a free horse and some armor and a sword. Instead of having a camel, isn't it? You have a camel to start with, don't you?
Was you an Oblivion fan? Elder Scrolls Oblivion?
No, I never played it.
No? Oh, classic DLC horse armor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm quite proud that I got the full 1,000 on that game off Oblivion. I really did.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh,
that took some doing.
Yes, I was going to say, you must have put a few hours in that bit of dedication.
Put 160, 170, I think, minimum. It's just, yeah, I got the full lot, did the full story, DLC, everything, yeah.
That is dedication.
It was some grinding.
Oh, yeah, I main story, and I harded out of that one. I thought, nah, I can't do any more. Definitely not.
The only game I've ever done where I've grinded loads and absolutely loved it, and that was Wildlands. The Ghost Recon Wildlands. I thought it was brilliant, that game.
Yep.
I think I spent over 200 hours on the campaign alone. On that one.
Right, that's a fair few hours.
So I'm going to quickly try and end off because we've went free flowing again. VJ, what would you quickly the question? If you were CEO, and what would you do first of a company?
If I was a CEO of
any company, and what would you do first?
I think
open a fish and chip shop.
Yeah, probably a chippy.
It could be any company.
I'd have to bar customers like Mr. Tucci. Oh my god, he'd be after free Savoys every day. I think I don't know how to answer this question. I would just say be careful what you wish for. It's an incredibly difficult job being the owner of a small family-run store. Even a chippy, let alone a CEO of a global company. I think for me, I'd prefer to be involved in perhaps even like an investment funding company that sort of looked at various projects of all shapes and sizes from all over the world. All sorts of countries and so on and so forth and regions, and sort of help incubate developers and publishers or even designers and help them reach their goals, whether they're large or small, as long as the potentiality was there and it's viable. It's not about making it easy for teams, as I say, development is a messy and arduous business. So I would also like to sort of have a publishing arm with strength and depth of content, so that developers that want to remain independent, but perhaps need to. I personally think there's tons and tons of indie games out there that have gone by the wayside. For every success, I think there's 100 failures out there, and that's because developers are not educated, or nor do they understand the whole process and the value and the organisation in terms of how everything sort of leads and relates to sort of like I don't know how to put it, like a foundation of a house almost. And how sort of everything leans and relates back to the creative and development process, and how it's all linked together. And I think that would be good. And I don't know if you remember, something just came to my mind, is that if you remember back at the turn of the century, there was a gathering of the developers. It was a concept from Take-Two. And as I say, I think it was birthed at the turn of the century, and where there was developers that weren't their key content providers, but were good developers, and it was a program where the strength and depth with these. I don't know how many developers. There was 4, 5, or 6. I remember that Illusion Softworks was one of them. Back in the day, they did Mafia and Hidden and Dangerous and stuff. And I thought that was a really, really good concept. I just didn't like that who was running it at the time and how it all was executed, and hence it only lasted a year. And I think Microsoft are doing something similar and a reasonable job with its sort of studio acquisitions to sort of strengthen its software offerings, and maybe perhaps to some degree Xbox, idea Xbox. I'm not entirely sure what their final objectives are longer term, but I think there's so much more room for improvement over Xbox anyway in terms of how they're running those two divisions or that division. I mean, some of them wouldn't have gone right for outright acquisition, as I say. Some of them remain independent. But yeah, I think I'd rather be somewhere in a position where I could discover and possibly put together and be a part of something new, regardless of the size of the project, as long as we could see, as I say, the potential in the people and the team. Sort of try to, be a part of a big company now and go there and, make this decision and that decision. There's just so much history there. I think I'd just rather start off with something small and fresh.
Fair enough. Sounds good.
The old chippy shoppy, that's what we're going to call it.
And what would you, Mr. Tucci, would you like to be the CEO of a chip shop? Or McDonald's? Or
with the right backing and infrastructure to see things through, Mr. Tucci, and free delivery.
Now we're in. I don't know what I'd go for. I don't know.
I could quickly say mine. Mine would be quite. You're probably all going to laugh when you hear it. I would be in charge of the Coalition Studios, and I would greenlight the Phoenix collection. It'd be.
It'd never see the light of day. It'd be in development for about 18 years.
Yeah, because it would have to be perfect, wouldn't it?
In Unreal 5.
And it would obviously
Unreal 7 probably.
Gears would go down a dark route. It would be darker games. It would be very dark.
Would that bloke be in it? That bloke's son be back in it?
No, I killed him.
I killed him too. I felt bad after I did it though.
I didn't.
Yeah. Being a CEO of a current company is just got too much baggage to it, and it's very hard to wield that sort of thing. Yeah.
It is. Any thoughts, Tushi? It's only a bit of fun. You can make it up. I know mine was boring.
Take over Ubisoft, a big fucking Splinter Cell back.
Yay!
That's a good pick. That'll be popular. That one will.
Stan's been gone for too long now.
Can we get fish and chips as part of our old fish and chips as product placement in the game?
Yeah.
Like he's having a fish and chips while he's hiding in the cabinet or something.
No, Sam Fisher hasn't been gone that long. He's
Fisher's fish and chips.
Sam Fisher's fish and chips. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
We've nailed it.
No, that's just one franchise I miss. It was good back in the day, but when you go back to play the old ones now, they're not as good. But they are good, but they've lost their touch compared to what the new games are anyway. But I think it'd be hard to bring another one back. I think.
Do you think? Does anybody know what Haven are doing? I know Jade Raymond was a big part of Splinter Cell, right? When it first came about. Do you think she's working on something like that, or are they working on something else?
I ain't got a clue.
It's weird why they announced. I don't know why they announced it, because they made an announcement, didn't they? Jade Raymond, this new studio, and that's all they said. We'll see, see in a few years, type thing. Yeah, it'd be good if they were doing something along them lines, but obviously it can't be Splinter Cell, but a bit of a different spin on it, because that sort of genre game we haven't seen for quite a while. And I wasn't the biggest Splinter Cell fan, but I did play the games. I did enjoy them. I wasn't keen on the last one though. The Blacklist, was it? Wasn't overly keen on that.
Yeah, I struggled to play that for some reason. Because it's quite a dark game, isn't it? The Splinter Cell games, but it's too dark for most TV. It's because it's not like OLED or anything. It just seems like a black screen when you're in the game. You can only see when they start shooting.
Oh, it looks good on the Series X. It looks really good.
Yeah, there's certain times where even in the daytime you've got to wear night vision goggles. It's all green on the screen.
Yeah, it just seems like Ubisoft just keep they know everybody wants this new Splinter Cell game, but it seems like they just keep teasing it with, he's in a mobile game, he's in this DLC. It's just like.
And they bring in this, I could be wrong, it might be the wrong game, but I heard something about Splinter Cell's going to be a TV series or a film. Am I wrong?
Tell me which big IP hasn't been linked with being a TV series or a movie at any point in time.
Yeah,
they all have, right? It's just about getting them off the ground, and it's really hard to do.
Anybody going to be watching Dynasty Warriors?
And this is why if Microsoft went and bought out Warner Brothers entirely with the DC Comics and everything, they'd have a production studio and they could green light all of their IPs.
But on the joke side of this question, if there's going to be a CEO, I'd take over where Phil Spencer is. I'll just buy Embracer Group to piss everyone off. Add another 30 studios to it.
I'm not actually. If you were to look into the Embracer Group, I don't think Microsoft would go down very well for buying it. It's a very the way the company's structured is very dodgy.
It's wild, isn't it? It's different, isn't it?
I don't think Microsoft would like to buy them. I don't.
Tencent have got the hand in that.
You know what? I thought Mr. Tucci was going to say. He's going to take over kick Phil out, take over, and buy Midweek Gaming. Bring us along with him for the ride.
I don't think Tencent's involved in the Embracer Group. I don't. No. But one company I thought there was a missed opportunity with Xbox was letting Tencent get their hands on Splash Damage. That they own them now. I thought that would have been a good buy for Xbox, but Tencent own them now. But
oh my goodness, I've forgotten what Splash Damage do.
Splash Damage are the ones that made Gears that make Gears Tactics with Coalition. They are
interesting.
But Tencent own them now. But they've still got a working partnership with Xbox, so it's fine. Making games.
They also did Batman Arkham Origins and Brink.
Did they? Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Nice.
And Quake 3 Fortress are involved in as well, so.
Oh, Quake.
Nothing else bigger than that.
Okay. But anyway, it has been a good show. It has been. Thanks for coming on, Bold Man Gamer.
So thanks for having me. It's been an awesome show. Thank you very much.
And, hey, it's been the Brickcast this week. It has. Paul can't make it. It has. But it's been a good show. It has. Yeah, thanks for coming on. You've been good.
No, thank you. Really enjoyed it. Loved it.
I heard you last on Green Pass Gaming. You've done very well on there as well. You did.
Oh well, I say the last time they asked me on, I was in chat, and I think one or two guests hadn't turned up, and it was like, got a message, can you jump on? It's like, oh right, okay. a bit panicky, but like I say, this is the third podcast I've done, so getting in there slowly.
Yeah, you're doing well. It's been fun. It has. You're not a podcaster, but we do outros. Do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Well, at the moment, the only place you can find me is on Twitter at BoldmanGamer. Feel free to follow me. I've followed back. Anyone wants to arrange playing games or anything like that, feel free to hit me up. I'm free most evenings. Other than that, yeah, that's about it, really. Well, thanks for having me.
Yes, it's been good. It has. Sorry, Mr. Tucci distracted me by showing everyone a photo of Animated Evil.
Check his DMs.
Oh, it's yeah,
I got the message. I'm having a look now.
But yes, thanks for coming on. It was a good one.
No.
Oh, thank you.
And next we'll go to VJ. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
It was a good one. It has.
thanks, Mr. Stubbs. I haven't done a podcast in a couple of weeks now. My first one in a long while.
And me.
No, it was good. It was a good chat. I know you don't like shout outs. Do you want to mention any words or anything?
Not really.
No, fair enough. Okay. Animated Evil, thank you for coming on. What's in the DM? Or can't you say?
As always,
Dick
thank you for
pics.
having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here week in, week out. Yeah, it's been a pleasure with Baldman Gamer today. Well done, sir. It's been lovely to have VJ and Mr. Tushy back. It's been a while since they've both been on. And I'd like to say a massive thank you to the chat. Because you're always awesome. Love you guys to bits.
It's been very
And
active today.
where can you find me? Here every Wednesday on Stubbs' channel at Midweek on Midweek Gaming. Thursdays on 4GQ TV. Possibly Sundays on Flemish Experience, but the best place to find me is on Twitter at animated_evil. You will see all the shit I'm doing on there. There you go.
Yep. Thank you for coming on. It was good. It was, and I wonder if I will complete Yakuza like 0 before you. Who knows?
You'll beat it before me.
You will.
Yeah. Yeah, I've already got Konami installed on the internal in preparation for it. I have. But yes, Mr. Tushi, would you like to
Hello.
tell everyone where they can find you? And possibly what games are on Community Game Night this weekend? You don't know. That's probably what the DM was about.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I'll assist to that when he gets to it.
yeah, it was about an hour ago, that was.
Really.
You can find me anywhere as Mr. Tushy or Tushy Gaming. The easiest place to find me is on Twitter. I'm on there all bloody day anyway. That's about it, really. Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Community Game Night games. I'm moving house this weekend, so I won't be attending. But Animated.
However, and I
There you
do
go.
apologise for all you members who come every week in, week out, that I haven't announced any games this week. I do intend to host something. I've had a few, shall we say, personal issues since like sort of last Sunday. All sorted now, I believe. So I will post out a couple of games what we're going to play. But please, if you want to play something and you're in the Community Game Night chat, let me know. We can book it up. Here's your chance. Tell me what you want to play this weekend, and we'll see.
Worms.
I'll give you till tomorrow afternoon.
Konami.
Gang beasts.
No. Never again.
No.
They tried it on the Community Game Night, and from what I understand, it didn't work very well.
Yeah, the servers were atrocious. It's terrible.
Right.
I only had one game in, was it about an hour?
Really?
Something like that. Just one match in an hour, I think it was. We gave up.
I think I
Game Pass
got
broke.
2 or 3.
Game Pass broke the service. Like they were Wreckfest, do you remember?
Oh,
The servers were fine till it hit Game Pass, and then Game Pass, and it got
it
rammed.
was just rammed, wasn't it? You couldn't even get. I had to go in Australian servers. It was like 300 or 400 ping.
We did
It was
say
a lot
we'll
of fun.
try Gang Beasts again when it quietens down a little bit, because it was so much fun when we all had one game together.
One game.
That's the only. That's we ended up being separate. There was quite a full gang of us trying it, wasn't there, Tush? But
There's about 12 of us. 12 of us all together.
Now I
sort of
know
groups of
what
2,
being.
3, 4.
I was trying to think about. I'm not sorry to go off topic, but now I remember BMG. So it was a company that Take-Two bought back in the late 90s.
Say again, sorry, mate.
No, I was thinking of the. I said I can't call you by your name. I'll call you BMG.
Yeah.
Where have I heard of BMG before? And it was actually a defunct video game publisher that Take-Two bought back in the late 90s.
Did BMG do the original Grand Theft Auto game?
I think they did the distribution. I think the game was made by DMA at the time.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And BMG handled the sales and distribution in Europe, and then Take-Two. I don't know what happened to them, but I know Take-Two bought them.
Yeah.
And then, and then the Hauser brothers took over the development of subsequent. It wasn't a
BMG distributed a lot of. They were a digital distributor, wasn't they? They distributed everything from music to everything. There wasn't just a game distributor. It was a digital distributor.
Yeah. So Take-Two came along and bought all their assets at some point, and because Grand Theft Auto, when it first came out, wasn't that popular, and I can't remember if it was the second or third one. They called it GTA, and I remember the Take-Two staff going around every single game store re-stickering the packaging back to Grand Theft Auto, because no one could quite remember.
Yeah.
No one, because it wasn't GTA at that time, wasn't synonymous, right? It was within, in terms of the industry, but for amongst consumers, they thought it was a different title. And I remember, all these stickers over all these copies of GTA. I don't know if it was one or two.
Yeah, because it was the original was Grand Theft Auto, then it was GTA 2, and then it was GTA London or Grand Theft Auto London. I remember. Yeah, there was a big thing changing everything over because nobody had a clue what the hell it was.
I remember having that on PC, the first one. It's fucking brilliant. That was back then. It was all. I remember seeing it on GMTV in the morning, and they were trying to ban it when they started because they're saying it was too violent for humans, basically.
I remember when the first one came out, PlayStation, and I had to get my mum to come down and buy it for me so we could play it. Oh, what the hell. Many years ago.
I remember Gex and Driver. They were two really good games back then.
Oh, yeah. Because like, Driver was like the 3D version of Grand Theft Auto, but you couldn't get out your car, could you?
No, I really enjoyed that game.
Stubbs, when we playing Halo?
Whenever you want to play it.
Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look at the time. My goodness. Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm looking 4.5 hours.
Yep. So, thanks for coming on, everyone. It's been a fun one. Thanks to the chat. Dragon Wolf, Indie Gamer, Light Lad. There's been so many people. It's Timmy.
I think Animated Evil does it really well.
Who was that?
Do you mean
ACS.
No. He's just done. What's his name? What's his name off Only Fools and Horses? Timmy.
Suko.
Hello, Marlene.
Marlene.
That was good.
Boyce it.
Yeah, boys.
Voice it. That's the one.
But anyway, thanks for coming on, and thanks chat for joining. It's been a good show, and I'll see you next week. All right.
It's nice. Marlene.
Have fun, guys.
See
See
ya.
ya.
Bye.